Good morning, everyone. Hi, it's Tracy at TierraCast with our weekly live jewelry demo. And hello to everyone who pops in later. We have several people popping in live. Hi, Julie. Hi, Carmen. And Landa and Gita. Hello, Gita. And of course, we have people on YouTube popping in. So welcome to you too. And for all of you who can't join us live and join us, watch the stream later, thank you for doing that and for also joining us, even if you couldn't be with us live. So I think it's a very fun demo today. It's our rustic desert bolo style necklace. And this, I'm always pointing at the wrong side. Sorry about that. Camera dyslexia or something. This project uses our newest button, our Longhorn Button, as the slide. Now, if you're familiar with with Bolo style necklaces, I was looking for Bolo tie history yesterday when I was preparing for this, and I had a nice link popped up for that. I found a nice link for that. It had a lot of the history. Now ask me if I saved that somewhere. But but let's see if I can pull up something else. It was really fun to kind of look and see what the history of bolo ties was. And they really became popular in the early 1930s, 1940s, and there was a particular man who coined the name and who actually put a patent on a design because it was inspired by a hat band that got turned around and in the course of a workday or something, he scooped up his hat and put it in threw the hat band over his head, and so it ended up with the back of the hat band in the front. And so people commented on it, and he went, that could make a necklace. So that's sort of how it was born. And since then, of course, it's become very symbolic of, it's become the bolo tie has become just, very popular. A lot of Native Americans in the Southwest area started doing beautiful silver work to make these. And they became the official neckwear of Arizona, and then subsequently Texas and New Mexico. So they've really been extremely popular. I wish I would have kept that link to that that told me what the man's name was who sort of invented them. Anyway, since then, of course, people have adapted that bolo tie to necklaces. And so typically that front piece of the bolo tie is what they call the slide. And then, of course, these at the ends of the two strands of leather are the tips. So, of course, with necklaces, we're going to do all kinds of fun and different things for that, right? So we used the button as the slide, and then, of course, embellished the tips with some charms and all kinds of fun stuff, gemstones. And we've used on this one some nice nubuck suede. I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera view so that way you guys can actually see the ingredients that we're going to use. Hello, everyone that's popping in, Rosalinda and Jessica and Karen, thank you so much. And Gail's on YouTube. Yay, Gail, nice of you to join us. We're live streaming to YouTube is a little bit new for us. So, when somebody finds the broadcast, we're like, yay, success. So let me switch my camera and we'll show you guys the what we're going to be working with. So I was talking about the suede that I used in the original. It is what you call a nubuck suede. It's got a wonderful smooth surface, and then the backside is that kind of rougher hide that you are kind of accustomed to when looking at suede lace. So this is beautiful. Comes in, and this is a 3 millimeter width. So I'm going to go with the same design for this for the demonstration. And then it has our, of course, our new rattlesnake link. It's a little bit tangled. What's happening here? Our little new rattlesnake link and our new Longhorn charm, of course, at the end. I'm going to get this out of the way. There is, before I do that, let me throw a link in the comments here to the project. It is also in the description at the top of the description of the post, wherever you are, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. It's up there as well. So the parts that we need to recreate this one is, of course, that Longhorn button. I'm going to work with silver today instead of the original gold. We need the Longhorn charm and the rattlesnake link, and then 2 of our Jardine crimpable end caps. We could also use our distressed ones as well. I think they would look nice with this design as well. But I like how the patterning on the Jardine crimp ends kind of plays well with the button, with the patterning on the button. So those are the ones I'm going to stick with. I've got some little twisted spacer beads. The original, if you download this project sheet, it'll call for eye pins. Because I am using some gemstones that have quite small holes, I'm actually going to use some 24 gauge craft wire instead of our 21 gauge eye pins, because the 21 gauge is too big for the holes on the in those gemstones. And I'm discovering here that I didn't put do not disturb on my phone, so let me just fix that, because I don't want texts and other things coming in and making noise. All right, so I was talking about gemstones. We do have gemstones. I've got some African turquoise here, rondelles, and some little carnelian chip beads. And then I often catch myself trying to say the recipe when I'm talking about our projects. I'll say the recipe calls for, I'm like, well, it's not. It is a recipe, but the parts call for 35 inches of whatever your cord's going to be. So I'm going to stick with that nubuck, but I've got it in, what is this color? It's shark blue. I love it. It's like a very cool gray. So I need 35 inches of that. So 24. And that can be approximate, because this is a bolo, and you can trim it. You of course want to have enough cord where you'll be able to fit this over your head, and then have the tips, the strands hang down as long as you want them. But there's room for flexibility in how much cord you cut, but you don't want to go much shorter than 35, that's for sure. So let's see. Oh, Geeta has posted a link to some Bolo information. If I find that other link I had saved, I will absolutely share that with you guys. But now I'm a little bit distracted, and I'm looking to see if I can find that link. Hold on. The question is which browser was I using when I found that? So I'll see if I can find it later. And in the meantime, Geeta's posting some stuff. So thank you, Geeta. Let's see. So I've got my 35 inches of this nubuck 3mm wide lace. I'm going to move this out of our way. And I'm only going to use 2 of those, 2 of the rondelles, and then 4 of the little beads, carnelian beads. So I'm just going to move that stuff kind of out of the way. So the first thing I want to do, maybe, if I follow the directions on my recipe, right? The first thing I'm going to do is do these little dangles for the tips. So I can go ahead and start that. I'm just going to cut a strand, a piece of craft wire about 4 inches long. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a loop at one end. So I'm just using my round nose pliers to make a little loop. I'm kind of working up at the wider end of the jaws so that my loop is kind of big. And then I'm going to go ahead and string this on, string that onto my my crimp end. And because I'm using craft wire and it's a little bit soft, I'm just going to give that a little wrap. I can't really leave it as a simple loop. The craft wire is not sturdy enough. If you needed to use wire for this and wanted to stick with the simple loops, then I would go with a German style wire, because it's a German style craft wire is like half hard. So it is will hold up maybe to a simple loop a little better. But with the craft wire, I definitely want to make it a wrapped loop. And then I'm going to string on some gemstones and spacers to make my little, deciding which beads to use, to make one of my little dangles. So there's the crimp end, there's my gemstones. Now at this end, I want to start my simple loop, or my wrapped loop rather, and I want to attach, before I complete the wrap, I want to add the snake charm. So I started it, threaded my little charm on there, and then I'll do my little wrap. So there's one, we'll do the second one. Hello, to everyone who's popping in. It looks like Geeta found several links to Bolo tie history, so those will be interesting reading later. So I'm just going to repeat that whole process, start a wrapped loop where I'm going to add string on the crimpable end cap. This piece of craft wire was a little bent at the end, but I'm sure I can get those beads over the kinks, I think. There we go. I love the color of this carnelian. It's just so rich, always so rich. And as always, if you guys have questions, I'm going to keep questions or comments. I'll keep my eyes on the comments as much as I can and respond. And if I miss your question or comment, you can always send me a message through our Facebook page or a YouTube page for that matter. And then before I finish up this wrap at this end, I'm going to attach the Longhorn charm. And for anybody new to our stream, which there may be, I know so many of you are familiar names, but there may be new people. If you're not familiar with TierraCast, we are a jewelry component manufacturer in Northern California. We're have been in business since 1978, and we actually cast pewter jewelry components here at our shop. So charms, beads, cord ends and crimp components and buttons and toggle clasps, all kinds of good stuff. So if you are not familiar, that's who we are. And this is we try to do a live jewelry demo. We don't sell finished jewelry. We have it on our website as inspiration. and for other jewelry makers. And there's always free downloadable project sheets and all the inspiration you want is on that inspiration section of our website. So that is just there for you guys. It's a resource. And we try to do a demo once a week. So that's who we are. And I'm talking and can't really remember what I'm doing. So I finished my dangles. I'll just set those aside for a minute. The next thing I want to do is put our slide on, which, as we were saying earlier, we're using the Longhorn Button. So what we have to do is the button's got a roomy shank, but there's two things. It's not positioned so that if I threaded the materials through the shank, that would be an option if it was quite narrow material, like maybe a 1 millimeter cord. But then my button would sit wrong. It's not positioned properly to do that. So what I'm going to do is use, for two reasons. One, I'm using thicker cord and it won't fit through the shank. Two, I want my button to be positioned properly. So I'm going to use one of our largest oval jump rings. I was trying to decide there for a second if I should put the jump ring on the button shank first or put it on the cord first. Finally decided it's going on the cord first. And I'm just going to get that jump ring positioned around the cord. And then I'm going to thread the shank of the button on there. And I do want to make sure that the button is right side up, and that then he won't be sitting there upside down. And I'm going to have to kind of wiggle that shank down so that I can get to the tip of the jump ring so that I'll be able to close it. Slide it around as much as I can so I can get to the jump ring. Close that jump ring up, and then I can slide that button back. And it'll move around. I did choose the largest oval jump ring we have because I want the jump ring to fit all the components, but I want it to be a snug enough fit so that there's some resistance, so that the slide on a bolo works just as the name says. It slides up and down, and that's how you adjust the loop part of the necklace and the length of the strands. So you do want this to be able to slide, but you don't want it to be loose. So if you're going to do this project with you have other buttons that you want to use, maybe you don't want to do a Western theme. Yes, a bolo is traditionally a Western kind of thing, but you could do other themes. I'm going to show you. I have a variation we're going to look at when I'm done with this one. But back to my point about the jump rings, you need to choose a jump ring that will be a good size to allow a little bit of resistance on your slide. You don't want it to be too loose. So the large oval jump ring worked well with the button for this nubuck suede lace. So then we've got whoops, our ends to attach. So these are our Jardine crimp ends. They're a 4x2 millimeter opening. So they were designed to fit 2 strands of 2 millimeter round cord, or whatever. It'll also fit 3 strands of 1.5 millimeter cord. So it's a slightly elongated opening. It works really nice. You could, if this was the 5 millimeter wide nubuck lace, you could just tuck it in there, but it's a little bit bigger for the 3 millimeter. So what I did in the original design was I just folded this up. I folded it up a little bit to give it a little more kind of volume. I want it to take up more space. And then I kind of flattened it and then tucked it down into the cord end. And these crimpable cord ends can be secured with glue or with crimping. In this case, I'm just going to crimp them. So I'm tucking it down in there as well as I can, making sure it's tucked in there enough that when I crimp it, it's going to hold. It seems like it's in there. I should have paid more attention to how much of the tail I had on the back so I could gauge, you know, but it's in there. There's a little bit of the folded bit sticking out, and I'm just going to use some parallel pliers to give that a little squeeze, and I'm going to flip it over and squeeze it again. Parallel pliers are my favorite for this. You can also use, you could just use chain nose pliers, but parallel pliers work really nice because of that even pressure that they put on. So there's one of our tips, and we're going to do the second one. I'm going to trim this straight and fold it up. Hello, Patty. Thanks for joining. Even if it's late, it is okay. I'm going to put, we were talking a little bit about doing this in different themes. So I'm going to put a link to our buttons. That's a good place to start. And maybe a link also to our cord ends. That's a super good place to start if you're thinking about types of a theme for your own bolo tie. You could start looking at buttons and crimp ends and seeing what fits well together. And tuck in the second one down in there. I didn't really test this one. You really do need, before you kind of finish your process, you really do need to test and make sure things are secure hold. And that one feels pretty good. And that one feels pretty good too. And as I was saying, it is perfectly, these are made for either gluing or crimping. So if you were going to crimp, but you felt like you wanted a little extra security, by all means, put a little glue in there before you crimp. So now here's our button. Here's our suede lace. In theory, this is the front, the smooth side. I wasn't really paying attention when I was attaching the crimp ends as to whether or not the charms are facing forward, but I looked out and they both are, so yay. So that's it. That's how simple that is. So then if you were to be planning on wearing this, you would just slide the button down and then put the loop over your head and then slide the button up to adjust to where the slide is. And you could, we were talking earlier about how long to cut the cord. There's definitely some wiggle room. This one will be quite long, but you could certainly shorten the ends so it doesn't hang quite as long on you if you wanted to do that. So that's this project. It's very easy. We loved the idea of doing a bolo style design with the when we were launching the Wild West group of parts. Will the button damage the leather over time? Yes, definitely could. Any kind of movement of parts on leather, because it's a natural, it's an organic product. Sure, it might cause a little bit of scraping, but this stuff is very nice quality. And it's dyed through, so you're not going to be scraping off a coating. So sure, it might show some wear, but it should hold up pretty well, this particular nubuck suede. I am putting a link to our Wild West collection. That's our most recent group of parts, and it obviously is all Western themed. So you guys, if you haven't already, I've been demoing these Western designs that we did when we did the product launch. I've been demoing them for a little while. So if you're a regular watcher of our lives, then you've probably seen everything you need to see, but throwing it in there anyway. All right, so options. Let's see, which to show you first. Well, I was inspired because, of course, it's spring. I thought, okay, let's look at some other buttons and some other parts and see what else I can come up with that doesn't feel so Western. So what I did was I got out our blossom button. What do we call that? You guys can probably find it faster than me because I just threw you a link to the button section of our website. Let me see what I can find. I want to find you guys the exact name of this button. I think it's just the blossom button, but I want to make sure. Let me look. Yeah, so we call this one our blossom button. So I got that one out, and I got out some of our little blossom charms, and I decided to use a 2mm round cord instead of a suede lace. So because it's a less bulky lace, I used our medium oval jump ring instead because I needed to find jump ring that would allow that little bit of resistance so that you can move it, but it's not too loose. And it's working really well to resist right now. But there you can see how it can move, but isn't too loose. So that's the medium oval jump ring that works with the better with the 2mm round cord. And then I got out our little 2mm cord ends that we made to fit the opening is 2mm, so it's made to fit 2mm cord. Also works with 1.5. This is our Palace cord end, and I think I already did. I didn't. Here's a link to our cord ends. So those fit the round millimeter cord perfectly. And again, these can be glued or they can be crimped. If you do crimp these, you're smashing it. So it's going to it's going to affect the part, of course, but it's certainly an option. You can also glue. So I'm just using chain nose pliers, and I went from one direction and I'm flipping it around and doing it again. And I'm going to test that gently to make sure it's good, and it is. If you don't want to crimp, that glue is absolutely an option. And I just, and then so the crimp ends, of course, I wanted to use those to go with the 2mm cord. And then I just added a little length of chain. And I added the blossom charms at the end, and I threw on some nice spring-colored crystal dangles. I just used 6mm bicone crystals with head pins and made little dangles and attached those along the length of chain. And I thought that made a nice, more springy variation than something different than the Western. I thought that would be fun to do. So there's a nice variation. I think I will probably see if I can get a decent picture of this afternoon and put it onto the, just going to get them all lined up here so you can see them. And I'm going to put that onto the inspiration page of the website. So it'll be there. And I'll probably also post it on social media so you guys will be able to see that option, that non-Western option, that spring, little more feminine option. I liked the idea of doing that. And I see that you're seeing part of them, but not all of them. Let me move that up. So there we go, variations. Now, one more thing. We talked about different crimp ends you could use with different materials, but what if you don't have any? So one, you can just use some wire wrapping. Fold that up and use some wire wrapping, and then you can use jump rings to attach your tips. Another thing I wanted to demonstrate is that this is just a standard piece of suede lace, not the nubucked, but just your regular kind of suede lace, which is a lovely green. I pulled that out because I like the idea of the spring color. And I wanted to see if, obviously rolling it over or folding it over and wire wrapping it is an option, but I also kind of wanted to see if I could make it work in our 2mm cord ends. So what I'm doing here is I'm just trimming that end at a bit of an angle, and I'm going to tuck this in here as far as I can. And it's, you know, the suede lace is soft, so I could throw some glue in so it's mushable. I should finish my thought. It's soft, so it's mushable. I could throw a little bit of glue in there and just tuck that in there, and that would dry, and that would be fine. Or I can do the crimping route again. Now it is, because it is a softer material, not as solid as round cord, I do want to make sure that I've got it crimped hard enough to hold it. So I'm checking that. But I think it's an option. And I just wanted to kind of demo it live while we were here and test it. And I think it would work. So the 2mm crimp ends are an option for the suede lace as well, if you didn't want to do the fold and wire wrap thing. So I just wanted to test that while I had you all as a captive audience. So so that's it, you guys. That is the Bolo style necklaces using our buttons and various crimp ends and charms. I think they're fun. I hope you guys think they're fun. I think I can switch my camera back now. Hi, I'm back. So yes, Bolo style necklaces, if that's your thing. And I'm kind of happy with this one, with the springy one. I think that it could have some nice potential for other styles, you know. So yay! All right, let's see. You are all welcome. I see lots of thank yous, and you are all very welcome. We love to do these inspiration videos because we want you guys to be making jewelry and having a good time. So I don't think I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live, a live jewelry demo next week. We've got some other stuff going on, so I'm going to skip a week, and I'll come back to it on what'll be the next Tuesday that I will be back will be the 19th. So I don't know what yet, but we'll figure it out. So thank you, you guys. Be well and make beautiful things, and feel free to share them with us. If you make stuff with TierraCast parts and you post them on social media at all, feel free to tag us. That way I hopefully will see them in the feeds. And you can also post them on the TierraCast Facebook page to share them with us. So we love to see what you guys make. So thank you. And you guys have a great day, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.